And I was listening to Piers Morgan earlier, and I know that when he was in America working for CNN, there was a big campaign that he launched about that. And he now says that it's a much more complicated situation than just banning guns. And he's right. But the thing is, surely now they must realise that these assault weapons are just not necessary. You know, nobody in their right mind can justify the need to carry a huge automatic weapon. Even if you're going hunting, I just don't understand why they can't at least do that. I mean, I know. You know, Sharon, you'll know the place better than me. But when I lived in America, in New York City, for example, nobody had a gun. But, you know, people in Connecticut,
South,
where my sister lived, even people that I would regard as being, you know, not the kind of people that would have a gun, some of them have got guns. And they say to me, oh, it's in case somebody burgles the house. You know, that kind of thing. But it's not an automatic rifle.
No, it's not a semi-automatic, and it's like something that, you know, the army, the military would use. So, but the thing is, honestly, it's scary there. And if you live on your own, or you live like my husband and I, right? I want a gun.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why we want to come back here. Right. Because you're just terrified the whole time.
Well, the idea that the biggest killer of children in America is gunshots.
What about the
Incredible.
6-year-old that went and shot the teacher in the face?
Yeah.
Now, he only got that from his mum, obviously.
Right.
And all 7 of these guns that were purchased by this person were done so legally.
Yeah.
Which is just devastating.
But they shouldn't... I agree. I think we all agree. Semi-automatic weapons should be totally banned from the public.
Yeah.
The problem is that after each one of these shootings, which is every week, sometimes every day of a week, we don't hear about all of them. That's the real tragedy. We've heard about this one, but there'll be one tomorrow we won't hear about because somebody won't die or there won't be as many victims. We have these same conversations. Why haven't we banned these assault rifles? Why have we got more limits on guns? But we all know that the gun lobby in America is so powerful that we're not going to get to a point where they're going to ban these rifles. And that is a fact.
That's part of it, isn't it? It's go on.
But it's devastating that these children are going to carry on dying. And it's not just children. It's someone in a pharmacy. It's someone in a church. It's someone in a mall. That people are going to keep on dying because the gun lobby in America is too powerful. So it feels to me that it almost doesn't matter how many people die. Nothing's going to change. And that is disgusting.
But it isn't just the guns, because you remember Michael Moore's movie, Bowling for Columbine, where he went to Canada, where there's more gun ownership per head of population than there is in America. But they don't have anything like as many.
But they've got
there's
a
really
different. It's a kind of pathological thing. You can't. you can't just, as Piers. I remember the interview on CNN that Piers did. I think with Alex Jones, as I seem to remember, was one of the many that he did. It got very, very heated, and obviously they can't get their head around the idea that you wouldn't want one of these massive guns. Like they can't get their head around the idea that you don't want a car that looks more like a massive truck, etc. It's just ingrained in a certain sector. And more disturbing than that, with something like this, they will. The police officer that ended up shooting dead the killer was an incredibly switched-on operative who managed the whole thing, because previous shootings hadn't worked out quite like that, where they said, don't let the police in the school. This guy went in, he had the whole thing sorted out.
He kept telling him to stop moving.
Correct. And he needed 3 people. Give me 3 people, I'll go in there, I will sort this, and he did. But, of course, the gun lobby will say, if a teacher had had the gun, then it would have been even quicker. Now, there's no evidence that could be corroborated, but that is the kind of pathology you're dealing with in this respect. It's an extraordinary mentality.
But it is the reality that there is a certain sector, but that sector is a huge sector in America.
And influential.
Big-time money that adore guns. It's part of their lives. And it's true that the gun lobbyers put so much money behind the senators for their campaigns.
For their election campaigns.
Year.
Well, there's a picture that I saw today of the Republican congressman for that area of Nashville, that part of Nashville where the school is, and he's got a semi-automatic rifle. It's a family picture, like a Christmas picture.
Oh, yeah.
3 kids, they've all got one.
Normal.
His wife's got one. They're standing there like some kind of, we're standing...
Who's he expecting? The Vladimir Putin?
Well,
I mean,
you would think, we're waiting for the Russian invasion, seriously. I mean, that's how heavily armed
But that is the mentality.
And they're smiling,
Yes.
It's
the
weird.
The amendment that says you should be able to protect yourself is ultimately for fear of invasion. And that mentality can't be unpicked.
Yeah.